Good afternoon. My name is Jim Meyer, and I just want to thank you for joining us today. So get to the right page. There we go.
We're not going to sit down?
A lot of pages. As Principal of St. Mary's, it is my honor to welcome you to the St. Mary's 153rd commencement. We are honored to celebrate the class of 2023 this afternoon. I know I speak for the entire faculty when I say it's been a pleasure to spend the last 4 to 7 years with you guys. Each of you has made your mark on our St. Mary's community, and we are honored to be a part of your education. Some of you have excelled academically, others have excelled athletically, still others have excelled in outside pursuits. But all of you have made our community what it is today. All of you are part of something bigger than yourselves. St. Mary's is a strong community that includes its alumni. As we mark the end of your high school career, remember that each of you has something special to offer the world. We look forward to seeing you make it a better place. Now, please join Bridget O'Connell in prayer as she offers the invocation. Bridget, please.
Father, we ask you to be with us as we remember. As we walk out the doors of St. Mary's and through other doors in our lives, help us to remember that Jesus said, "I am the door." As we seek to understand the deeper and ultimate meaning of our lives, help us to remember that Jesus said, "I am the truth." As we seek fulfillment and the pursuit of happiness, help us to remember that Jesus said, "I am the life, abundant and eternal life." Father, watch over us, protect us, provide for us, guide us, and give us your grace. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen.
Please be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce St. Mary's class of 2023 salutatorians, Sydney DeBoer, Subin Lee, and Hamir Patel.
Good afternoon, fellow graduates, esteemed faculty, family members, and honored guests. It is with great pride and honor that I stand here before you today as one of 3 salutatorians for the class of 2023. I would like to extend my warmest welcome to everyone present here today as we gather to celebrate this momentous occasion.
As we look back at the last 4 years, we realize that time has truly flown by. We entered this high school as naive and inexperienced freshmen, with no idea of what the future held for us. But today, we stand here as young adults filled with hope and dreams, ready to embark on the next phase of our lives.
During our time here, we've experienced both the highs and lows that come with the high school experience. We have made friends, forged relationships, and grown together as a community. We have also experienced moments of heartache, loss, and disappointment. One of these instances we can all relate to is the COVID-19 pandemic. When I found out that we would have 2 weeks off, I was instantly distraught. Some people were so happy that we were getting 2 weeks off of school, but I knew that it would be more than just 2 weeks. I was at Marin's for a sleepover when we all got the email with all of my good friends by my side. I immediately started freaking out. The world as I knew it was changing. One of my best friends was moving away, and who knew how long it would be until I was back at school. But it ultimately shaped us all into better people and connected us in ways that no one would think possible. Through it all, we have learned some of the most valuable lessons that life has to offer.
We have learned the importance of hard work, perseverance, and dedication through our extracurriculars, such as mine on the football team with our classic end-of-the-season skit night. The one chance my teammates and I get to embarrass ourselves and our coaches in one go without facing any actual consequences. We get to let loose and show off our acting chops, or lack thereof, and not worry about getting benched or yelled at. It's like a free pass to make a fool of yourself, and everyone's in on the joke.
We have learned to embrace diversity and appreciate our differences. When I first came to St. Mary's, I was worried if I would be able to make any American friends since I grew up in a different culture. However, as soon as school returned to normal from the effects of COVID, all of my worries disappeared. The people at St. Mary's were very welcoming and willing to learn. My friends and I always cook my traditional dish together and listen to K-pop. We have learned to support and uplift one another and share our differences. And most importantly, we have learned to be open-minded and embrace each other's.
Let us commemorate this moment to a start of a new chapter filled with triumphs and accomplishments. At the same time, let us cherish the end of a meaningful and enlightening journey through the comprehensive education provided by St. Mary's.
We reminisce on the long hours spent studying for Miss Wispel and Mr. St. Ange's challenging calculus classes, cheering at sporting events until our voices disappeared, the times we begged Miss Lovett for extra credit at the end of every quiz and test. We vividly recall the unique experiences of Mr. Romer's AP Enviro class, where we burned our nostrils with the stench of palm sludge, the times we went to class early to reserve the rights of Megadesk and Mr. Volk's English.
Mr. Wing's smile and sass combo got us all through the toughest of times when we were stressed about tests and life. Hearing Mr. Volk's prediction of him dying to a newly licensed sophomore when crossing the street to go and buy a Diet Coke enlivened our sense of humor and made us all laugh. Mr. Camachero's beloved retainer that he could never get rid of will always be remembered and cherished. We'll never forget Huizinga being our mom away from home, always telling Albie to watch her language for her spontaneous curse words, and providing people with her signature Nerds gummy clusters.
We recall the time Mr. Romer let his hair down, let us make goofy videos for extra credit in his classes, and him constantly talking about his kids fighting. Or when Mrs. Moore showed her crown of Barbie heads over Zoom and woke up all the sleepy onlookers. And of course, Brewster, or Mrs. Bruins, getting down at the lip sync with her cowboy boots. But beyond these moments, it was the combination of our personal experience and relationships with our teachers and classmates that got us all through these last 4 years of high school. Let us cherish these memories and use them to pave the way for a bright future ahead.
As we move on to the next chapter of our lives, we will undoubtedly face new challenges and obstacles, but we can face them with the knowledge and experiences that we have gained during our time here. We will go on to accomplish great things, make a positive impact on the world, continuing to learn and grow.
To our teachers, administrators, and support staff, we're forever grateful for your guidance, wisdom, and support. You have not truly challenged us, but encouraged us and believed in us when we didn't even believe in ourselves. We could not have made thus far without you guys.
To our families and loved ones, we thank you for your unwavering love, support, and sacrifices. You have been our rock, our confidence, and our biggest cheerleaders. You have instilled in us the values of hard work, dedication, and perseverance, and we are forever grateful for all that you have done for us.
And finally, to my fellow graduates, I want to say how proud I am of each and every one of you. We have made it through some of the most challenging times in recent history, and we have done so with grace, dignity, and strength. I have no doubt that we will go on to do great things and make a positive impact on the world.
So as we prepare to receive our diplomas and move on to the next phase of our lives, let us not forget the lessons we have learned, the friendships we have forged, and the memories we have made during our time here. Let us go forward with hope, courage, and determination, knowing that the future is bright and full of endless possibility. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2023.
Great job, guys. Thank you. And it is now my pleasure to introduce our student elected speaker, Caden Walker.
Hello, everyone. There's a lot of you out there. I want to start off by just saying I promised a couple people that I'd keep it together today and I wouldn't cry. So I'm going to make sure I stay real strong for this speech because, well, I'm known to cry. So first, I would like to start by just saying it's truly an honor to be up here and speak today on behalf of my class. I get to represent an amazing class that I am so proud to be a part of. Being at St. Mary's is truly such a special opportunity. Those who have been here since 6th grade can probably remember the pagoda where the cafeteria stands right now, the NPR, or even those delicious cookie cups from Paula's Snack Shack. We'd play kick the can in the Grace Courtyard, go to game club on Fridays after school, and in the mix, there was some occasional learning. The sports events through the years, the lip syncs, the games at morning meeting, the dances, field day, unfairish games, and the mystery box in Miss Miller's room are all memories that I treasure at this school. The teachers at St. Mary's have created so many memories that add to the overall experience. I can guarantee that every single senior graduating today shares at least one core memory no matter who you are. That memory is that there is only one rule in Mr. Volk's classroom. Whether it's saying Buffalo Bill to save your seat, no shenanigans being allowed, or even the most vicious crime of tomfoolery, we can all say that we have the handbook to his classroom memorized. Our class has been through so much over the years, like online school and COVID, impacting the majority of our high school experience. But with that, we persevered and we actually conquered the web. To make the most of our time spent at home, there were some pet guest star appearances in some cameras, while others were changed to the background to be the face of another classmate. One memory I have from Zoom was a class with Mrs. Inga titled Spice of Life. And some of you may not know me well enough, but I am not a fan of spices. I found that out very quickly after taking this class. I can recall staring at my screen, taste testing some spices, while Mrs. Inga just sat there and she laughed and she listened to me rant about how one of them tasted like celery, and boy, do I dislike celery. Finally, some of our classes transitioned back to in-person, but it just wasn't quite the same. But the class of 2023 is special in how we are able to adapt to change. Coming back to school was not easy, but a couple things here and there made the experience far better. I mean, the school year would have been a real struggle without Mr. Comachero and the lost retainer to keep us in good spirits. And who else besides Mr. Comachero would go out and check our tire pressure during the winter to keep us safe on the roads? He really does it all. Some teachers may have grabbed your attention with some loud noises or the occasional jump scare. Mr. St. Ange specializes in the art of random loud noises. And you may have heard a thud or two around the school if you're in the neighboring classrooms, and you can almost guarantee it's from him. And for our STEM students, the chem rooms are like a second home. They are filled with science experiments demonstrating fire, changes in color, and a few too many titrations. Some of you may have even spent time in the chem room just to talk with Miss Lovett. We all know I have. In fact, I spent so much time in the chem room with Lovett, just talking about science or life, that I actually had someone come up to me just about 2 weeks ago and they said, "Hey, Caden, do you know if Miss Lovett's going to be here today?" Just assuming I knew her exact schedule. And I can't think of another school where there could be 3 students in the biochemistry class that love their teacher so much that they would go and get coffee with them during their winter break just because they miss hanging out with their teacher. Some people might remember spending all their time in the art room working on their portfolio. Now, I think we can all agree that just being in Miss Moore's presence can really brighten your day. Everyone can remember the science morning meeting where she fearlessly volunteered and had her hair frizz up. And even though English and history weren't my ideal subjects to partake in, the classes were significantly enhanced when you could hear the famous Mr. Hunter accent or doing a chop citation challenge with Mrs. Dewing. Some school days weren't as academic, but incorporated fun competitions like the Chubby Bunny Challenge or fun Halloween dress-up days. I mean, who could forget Mrs. Dewing as the Statue of Liberty or Bella dressed up as her own dad, Mr. Volk? Some small things like karaoke and movie nights on Friday, or end of the mod hot pot parties, or just even the delicious baked goods that Miss Seiss brings into the dorm may be the best things that you remember from high school. And all of these memories are amazing highlights of what happens at St. Mary's to enhance the school year. But what about the experiences off campus? Going to sports games with memories from the bus, going to nationals for speech and debate, Model UN, the East Coast trip, the Deep South trip, or even trips out of the country to Argentina, Italy, China, and Ecuador. If I asked any one of the seniors here today, what is one of the best moments you had at St. Mary's, I know they could tell you a funny story about one of their teachers, or they could tell you about how amazing they felt after doing well on a test that they worked so hard for. Or they could tell you how amazing they felt after watching one of my lip syncs every year, especially my performances, I mean. But the point is, excuse me. But the point is that this school has a way of leaving a mark in every kid's life in some way, shape, or form, and is what truly makes graduating from St. Mary's such a bittersweet moment. Because as we leave this school, we take away all of these moments that we have crafted and they become just memories. It's no longer the everyday 8:30 ABIN that's being attended, or going home after 3:30 after what feels like an eternal seven. But with that, this class gets to go and make some amazing new experiences in a brand new chapter of life called college. So with that, I would just like to congratulate all of the seniors of the 2023 class for making it to this point, because I know it wasn't easy. I am so proud of all the accomplishments we have made as a class, and I know that 2023 will be a number to remember in St. Mary's history. I would like to say thank you to all the people who have made our experience at St. Mary's so special. Thank you to the custodians who keep our school clean, the teachers that make learning easy, and the students who bring such an amazing environment to this campus, and thank you to the class of 2023. All of the seniors that are here today, you all hold such a special place in my heart. I love all of you so much, and I'm really going to miss you guys next year. But to end things off on a positive note, sorry Ducks fans, go Bees.
Thanks, Jacqueline Watts, for that great slideshow. And now it is my honor to introduce our co-valedictorians, Mason Cooley and Elliot Zimmer.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry too. Hello everyone. As many of you know, this is Mason Cooley.
And this is Elliot Zimmer. I first met Elliot in the St. Mary's Middle School as 7th graders. He immediately stood out to me as a lighthearted bundle of energy, always willing to answer the teacher's questions or to lend a helping hand.
My first memories of you, Mason, are very calm and quiet, like a Zen master. I remember sitting in a circle on the floor of one of the middle school classrooms and seeing you on the other side smiling and just minding your own business, happy to be out of the center of attention, which I admit was the complete opposite of me growing up because I always wanted everyone's attention.
It's true that we had our differences, but we actually have a lot in common as well, which eventually brought us together over the years and created a great friendship. Now, here we are together on this stage, leaving you all with some final remarks on how to best move forward as our senior class takes the leap from high school to full-fledged adulthood.
One of our main similarities is our affinity for languages. Back in 7th grade, we started taking Chinese together as adorable little children in the St. Mary's Confucius classroom. Since then, we have taken all the same Chinese classes together, up to AP Chinese this year as seniors. Our Chinese teachers like to think that our success has something to do with their classes raising us correctly. And who knows, maybe that helped.
Chinese and languages in general are about learning new cultures and gaining a broader understanding of the world. The core components of college and graduating from high school are a lot like learning a new language because you're gaining a new understanding of the world outside of what you have already experienced. You have to acclimate yourself to new cultures, traditions, and an overall different way of life.
Now, I know not all of you here took Chinese, but I'm sure that there are great takeaways from every single one of the classes offered here at St. Mary's that can help guide us as we move forward into the next stages of our lives. Isn't that right, Mason?
Right. Take our history classes, for example. Through living a double life as a female police officer and lottery of birth, and what felt like almost endless amounts of APUSH readings, our social studies classes have allowed us to not only analyze the past, but see how it has influenced our present and future. As our time at St. Mary's comes to a close, take a moment to reflect on your experiences. From Friday night football games to stressful, caffeine-fueled studying sessions, high school is a series of ups and downs that you can learn from as you go through them. Allow your experiences at St. Mary's to inform your future, to be the catalyst for who you will become as we venture beyond the St. Mary's campus.
And as we navigate this new world, we will undoubtedly encounter new problems. And math, despite the numerous times you've had to ask yourself if it's useful in life, has equipped us with the skill set to face these problems head on. Math provides new approaches to obstacles in life, and just like any single math problem you may encounter, there are always many different ways you can solve it. The same applies to life. You may not know which direction you are going, but if you choose the right methods and make good choices, you will arrive somewhere you will be proud of.
Our English classes have provided us with a multitude of skills that we can take with us beyond high school. English has not only helped us improve our writing and speaking skills, and I'm sorry to the English department for any of the grammar rules that we may have broken in our speech, but has taught us the skills to be inquisitive of the worlds around us. In our English classes, we've read and analyzed a variety of texts, ranging from Homer's Odyssey to Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Evaluating these texts requires us to think critically about when it was written, the motives behind the piece, and who the author was as a person. As we traverse the world that lies beyond St. Mary's, we will quickly find that it is much bigger than what we were confined to in high school. We should remember to stay curious and to think deeply about the world around us, because if we pay attention to our surroundings and question them, it will lead to a more enlightening life.
Looping back to the STEM field, science classes give us a new sense of truth in life, what to believe and why to believe it. Science helps us understand the world we live in. Whether we're using lab equipment during a group test in physics to settle a dispute, or igniting controlled explosions in chemistry, we all learned that we can't predict everything in life, but we can learn from our mistakes and from trying experiments of our own. So don't be afraid to experiment in life and try new things, because it can expand our knowledge and help us find new passions. A quick disclaimer though, please be safe when experimenting.
While thinking critically is important, creativity also has its place in the adult world, and this is where our fine arts classes come into play. Whether it was painting landscapes with Mrs. Moore or making films with Mrs. Labick, art allows people to express themselves that are not possible in everyday life. We should all learn from the artists inside ourselves and embrace creativity. In the future, we shouldn't be afraid to be expressive and allow others to see our true, passionate, charismatic selves in the next chapters of our lives.
And finally, we have our religion classes. Along with the occasional lesson on the Buffalo Bill of Rights by Mr. Volk, or an impromptu economics lecture by Mr. Wing, our religion teachers have taught us the importance of being active members in our communities, wherever that may be. The transition to adulthood calls on us to be nurturing, empathetic, and responsible. Through the service we completed in our religion classes and OGMODs, we have gotten a taste of this maturity that will certainly help us moving forward. Our service to others has a place beyond high school, and it's our responsibility to be leaders in our communities, both inside and outside of the classroom.
We at St. Mary's are blessed because we belong to an institution that has not only prepared us for our futures as scholars, but has fostered our development from adolescence to adulthood as well.
After spending the last several years of our lives in each other's company, I am confident to say that our class will find success in whatever we set out to do.
Given the amount of time that Elliot and I have spent in the Confucius classroom together, we felt that it was fitting to leave you with this piece of advice from Confucius himself. Wherever you may go, go with all your heart.
Despite its simplicity, the words provide powerful meaning. They remind us to be passionate about what we do, to be ambitious, and to look ahead with a positive attitude.
The class of 2023 is prepared for the road ahead, and we are positive that we will march forward with all of our hearts. Thank you all.
Introducing our speaker today is the president of St. Mary's School, Mr. Ryan Bernard.
Welcome, everyone. I am pleased and honored to introduce my good friend and mentor, your graduation speaker, Frank Phillips, a man who has devoted over 3 decades of his professional life to this school. First as a librarian and teacher, and then for over a decade and a half as its administrative leader. He is in semi-retirement, which for him means carrying the title of President Emeritus, while teaching a few classes while not pursuing his most important work, polishing his short game. In introducing Frank, a former Latin scholar and teacher, as well as a literature instructor for many years, it seems fitting to quote another man of letters, that most American of poets, Walt Whitman, who once wrote, "Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes." When I think of that oft-quoted canto number 51 from Song of Myself, I think of Frank. Let me explain. As a child of the 70s and always nostalgic for that groovy decade and vibe, Frank is a true chameleon, with so many varied personality qualities and interests, including some of which appear to be contradictory on the surface, but all of which he switches among so easily. For example, born and raised Catholic, Frank has a deep understanding of faith, but he can be highly irreverent. Most evenings, he debates whether to read ancient philosophy or watch clips of Family Guy on his iPhone. He is equally at ease debating complicated world politics or simply explaining how to best sharpen your mower blades. He also has, in his own words, a sticky memory. He can recall on command significant historical events, as well as Professional Golf Association stats. He can share the etymology of seemingly every word in the English language, or regale you with a blue joke, employing a handful of comedian George Carlin's 7 words that you can't say on television. And he can quote everything from high literature and philosophy, some of his hobbies, to 70s rock lyrics, the stuff he really cares about. In the course of one conversation with Frank, he's as likely to quote Aerosmith as he is Aristotle, David Bowie as he is Boethius, Led Zeppelin as he is John Locke. Actually, more likely, he'd probably quote a handful of them, the low and the high, Dire Straits and Derrida, The Who, and the Pope, always finding the right lines to convey an idea, to capture the moment perfectly. You see, good leaders know a little about a lot Great leaders know a lot about a lot. They're polymaths. St. Mary's is where it is today, an outstanding college prep school on an upward trajectory, largely because of Frank's many facets and his ability to move easily among different types of people and personalities to just flat get stuff done. And what an impressive list of stuff he just flat got done. Orchestrating the purchase of this property, launching our Confucius classroom, opening schools in China, overseeing 2 successful capital campaigns, switching our calendar and curriculum to the mod system, to say nothing of the countless contributions he's made in the boardroom and the classroom. One can see how Frank's seemingly different interests and approaches, his appetite for both high culture and pop culture, the sacred and the irreverent, the existential questions and the stupid jokes, actually work in concert to make the whole man. As Frank moves towards retirement, I suspect he is pondering the very question posed by 70s Southern rock legends Lynyrd Skynyrd in their iconic hit Freebird, in which Ronnie Van Zant sang, "If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me?" Well, Frank, I can answer that question, and you can quote me, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Phillips.
Okay, thank you to Ryan for that hyperbolic introduction. And thank you to parents and grandparents and friends and family and fellow teachers and the staff and the trustees, and especially to Ryan and Mr. Meyer, my longtime colleagues who invited me to speak. And to you students, my apologies. You got ripped off. You have a teacher speaking to you at graduation. It's the lamest thing ever, right? So here's my advice for you. You're still technically students, right? You haven't got your diplomas yet. So just go to that space you used to go to in my classes and just ignore everything I say. Just go to your happy place. And I give you that advice because you're incapable of fully understanding what I'm about to tell you. And I don't say that to be mean. Intellectually and theoretically, you're going to understand everything I have to say right now, but you need to stow it away until you're in your late 20s or 30s, right? Just put it in random access memory, what I'm about to tell you, because you're young and experience comes with time. It'd be like if I asked you guys as seniors to sit down with a 7-year-old and explain to that 7-year-old what it's like to drive a car, what it feels like to throw it in gear, put your foot on the gas, pull out into traffic, get on the entrance ramp to the highway, get it up to like 75 miles an hour, pass a triple trailer in the rain, right? You could explain that to a 7-year-old. But think back to when you first got your driver's license all those years ago, right? Until that first time you're alone in a car by yourself and you realize I'm in control of this big powerful piece of equipment and I can like hit things with it if I want. You don't fully understand what it's like. And it's the same thing with life. You got to get out there and do it before you understand it. So let me get a few practical things out of the way first before I tell you what actually matters most in life. Okay, many of you in front of me, and I can tell you this now that you're graduating, wasted way too much time and emotional energy in trying to find the perfect fit for college. In one way, it's all a bunch of nonsense. Frankly, just about any of the top 100 universities, especially in this first world nation, would be fine for you. Here's why. There are way too many other variables in the equation of life that carry far more weight than your college choice. None of us in this audience know what's going to happen 2 seconds from now. I like to kid the Korean students. I hate to go to Seoul to recruit kids. I love Seoul, great food, Gangnam, all sorts of cool high-tech stuff going on. But it's like from here to Grants Pass to the DMZ. Kim Jong-un is sitting up there, a madman with nuclear weapons. It's like you can't be comfortable in that city. And he now has nuclear weapons that are capable of hitting the west coast of the United States. for all we all know, he may have launched them when I began this talk, and we may see mushroom clouds over the western mountains by the time I'm talking. Nobody knows what's going to happen in your lives. You may be going to the best university on the planet, and you may meet someone there who will destroy your life financially and emotionally. Conversely, this is like, I know you're laughing, but I'm telling you the truth. It's life's funny. Conversely, you could go to like the 97th ranked university in America, and you can meet somebody in the computer science program, and you can start the next Apple computers together. If you really want to get rich, I was talking to Mr. Peterson before this, and I see we have one Naval Academy. The highest paid corporate CEOs in this country have a few things in common, like weirdly, Eagle Scouts, have spent some time in the military, and went to mid-ranked state universities. So if you want to get really rich, some of you may have already been on the wrong path. Okay. But there are a few things that do bring success in life, and this is like Harvard Business School stuff. I can show you the studies if you wanted. Self-awareness is key. Being able to look in the mirror and know who you are and recognize your strengths. And don't beat yourself up, but know what your limitations are. Keeping quiet now and then, developing a high EQ, emotional quotient, actually listening to other people, empathizing, sympathizing with them, making people feel better about themselves. Learning agility is a huge thing. That's when you fall off that academic horse and you get back on again and you figure out why you fell off in the first place. And finally, being a nice person actually leads to success, despite the old cliche that nice guys finish last is not true. If you're nice to everybody in the scale of life, you're going to end up being successful. And so you guys picked your colleges, right? And you may want to think, and this pains me as a literature guy, and a Latin guy, and even more useless subject, you may want to think about doing something that's going to get you a job one day, right? Or marry somebody rich, which I always encourage my students to do, right? And it's a good move. And just get on with that business, right? I am firmly convinced as humans we're adaptable. I'm convinced that all of you and all of us who are adults could have been happy doing like any one of 17 different careers in life. So finding something to do for a living is a box you need to check. But it's not the most important thing in your life, and I'm going to move on to what is. I was watching, I don't know, some PBS, I think, back in the 1980s, and they had this educational forum, and they had the top 10 university presidents. They had all the guys at Ivies and Duke and Stanford, Cornell, all these places you guys are going. 10 university presidents in a roundtable discussion about the purposes and goals of college education. And these guys blather on as academics do. And when this hour-long program was wrapping up, they went around the table and they asked each president, so they went to the president of Duke, they said, okay, you, president of Duke, what's one thing that you want a kid graduating from Duke to know? And these presidents spouted the same BS that all these kids, like, I want them to know that learning is a lifelong path and that they've only just begun in college, or life is complicated and you need to look at things from multiple perspectives before you form an opinion. And, it's all good stuff, but it's not profound. And the Harvard guy, as Harvard is first, got to go last in this round table, and his name was Derek Bok, B-O-K, a controversial president of Harvard at the time. And they went to Bok and they said, okay, President Bok, what is the one thing you want a kid graduating from Harvard to know? And Bok looked up and said that they will die. And I don't want to dwell too much on statistical realities, or be too much of a downer, but I'll tell you, your teachers sitting behind you, and we've known students at St. Mary's who died. Given a certain population, a certain number of young people who died. We know kids who have died of cancer, of auto wrecks, of overdoses, and suicide. And if you teach at a bigger school than an urban school, you know even more kids who have died. And we keep in touch with you guys, with our alumni, after you get out of here. And a lot of our alumni do exceedingly well in life. You guys are getting a huge head start over a lot of people in this world. But some of our alumni don't. they develop the usual range of adult problems, addictions, bankruptcies, divorces. We've had alums who have gone to prison for various white-collar crimes, or get in debilitating accidents, or develop long-term chronic diseases like MS and end up in wheelchairs. It's like life, you got to realize this. You guys are going out into the world. When you grow up, I hope none of this stuff happens to you guys, but stuff happens. Mr. McGrath is here today. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Mike, Mr. McGrath's undergrad school is Providence College. I remember back in the 80s, a kid went to the first day of freshman orientation at his college. Program ended at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He found his way to an illicit kegger. You know, some of the older kids had come back. He had a few too many red Solo cups of Bud Light or whatever. 6th story of dormitory, leaned over the balcony, fell to his death, broke his neck, game over. That was his college career. So I'm going to lighten up now. Right. Even if you guys die peacefully in your sleep after a nice steak dinner at 104 years old, you're still going to die, as President Bach said. But we hope that you live a long life that is rich with human experience. Here comes the 70s rock lyric. I was painting a trim in my house this last summer, and I needed some tunes to listen to, and I was listening to David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, and the Spiders from Mars. And there's a track on that album called Rock and Roll Suicide, which actually is a much more upbeat song than the title would indicate. And the first words, the first line of lyrics of that song is, "Time takes a cigarette and puts it in your mouth." And what Bowie meant by that is, like, we've all seen these kind of like film noir movies where our protagonist is trying to solve a crime or searching for a villain, stumbles into a bar about midway through the movie. He's kind of at a dead end. And at the end of the bar, there's either a very sophisticated woman or a mature, good-looking guy, a loose-shaped character. You got a cigarette. You take a drag, blow it out, and they tell a hero of our movie, "Let me tell you how things work around here. I've seen a few things in my life." Time will do that to you. It turns all of us into that character at the end of the bar who has seen a few things. You guys aren't there yet. Unless you graduates are fated to live exceedingly boring lives, you have not yet experienced your moment of greatest joy, nor your moment of greatest sorrow that will bow you to your knees. C.S. Lewis, the guy that wrote Chronicles of Narnia, he wrote an autobiography entitled Surprised by Joy. And now you don't need to read it because the title says it all. The rest of the book's boring. The point he makes in it, his theme is that the most joyous moments of his life came upon him completely out of the blue. You can't manufacture them. Often when he was in the most mundane circumstances in life, he would experience something that brought him to transcendent bliss and the height of happiness as a human. Spontaneity in life is everything. Infinitely preferred to plan events. Think about this thing we're going through now, and I'm sorry to keep you out here talking to you in the heat, but graduation's a drag. I mean, I hope it's nice for you, but come on, you got people ordering you around, your clique, Bernard, admire these people, telling you what to wear, when to show up, how to walk, where to sit, when to stand, right? It is, right, Sean? It's like a military thing, right? This will not be the happiest moment of your life. Now, I hope you're enjoying yourself. It'll be a good moment, but there's no way it's going to be the happiest moment of your life. And to be a little more, I'm going to be a buzz killer here, just a little bit. Like, when you guys come across the stage, I'm sure some of you have some, like, nifty little moves, secret handshake, dance move kind of things you're going to do for the entertainment of the crowd. And I enjoy those, like the year those kids dunked on Bernard and went viral, right? I enjoy those things. They're fun. But when you're sitting in a nursing home at 90 years old and somebody asks you what was the most joyous moment of your life, it's not going to be like when me and my friend did this little dance thing at my high school graduation. It can't be the most joyous moment of your life because you planned it. You stole whatever routine you're going to do off TikTok somewhere. You talked about it. You rehearsed it. You're hoping you don't blow it when you get up here. And it's going to be lacking true, unadulterated joy, even if it's going to be amusing. So all of life's most memorable moments are surprises. Sometimes they're wonderful, sometimes they're awful. As you go out into the world, you need to maximize your chances to be surprised by joy. Be open to new experiences, to friendships, to projects, to opportunities, and don't go out and get married after graduation, but at some point, yes, even to love. I have a businessman friend who, people at the gala, I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but we were talking about some sort of project we were trying to pull off here on campus, build one of these buildings, do something, and I was being a negative Nelly about it, throwing up all sorts of obstacles, and he looked at me and he said, Frank, the answer is yes. What's the question? He said, you can do anything you want. We can get these buildings built. You want to retire to Southern France, you can do that. You want to get a job with Boeing, you can do it. The answer is yes. If you set your mind to it, you can do it. Be ready to say yes to things when you go out in life. People who say no drive me insane. Every once in a while, I'll see somebody I haven't seen for a while, and I'll make the mistake of asking them, how are you doing? And they'll stop and tell me. And I've had this conversation with people. They'll say, oh, it's like, they're almost always hyperventilating. It's like, I'm learning how to say no. I'm cutting back on my commitments. I'm not volunteering at the animal shelter anymore. And I'm taking time for self-care, right? And I'll talk to that parent. I'll pat him on the head, and I'll say, good for you, solid plan. What I'm really thinking is, God, what a low energy loser. I need to cross this person off my list, right? They just saying no to stuff. Happiness is the goal of life. But a British writer, Thomas Carlyle and Sator Resartus, said that Congress never passed a law ensuring that you're going to be happy, right? You have to get out there and manufacture it. And what's the best way to be happy? I'm going, Bernard, pre-70s. I'm going back to 1967 for a rock lyric from Jefferson Airplane. You want to be happy, you better find somebody to love. It is really hard to get through life without an ally. There are a few people who seem to be born to go through life alone, but most of us need a real ally. That choice is 1,000 times more important than the choice you just made about which college you're going to. A bad relationship can set you back 10 or 15 years. I know someone who got into MIT's business school, Sloan. It's one of the top business schools in America. Back in the 80s, she got through it. She got her MBA, summa cum laude. She went to work for Hewlett Packard, which was a big company back in the 1980s. It was the thing. Had high six-figure income, expense account, business class travel. She married an engineer from MIT. They had 2 beautiful little children together. But it was the 80s, so her engineer husband developed a very expensive cocaine habit. He also stupidly used their house on collateral on some sort of crazy business thing that fell apart, so they lost their home. Husband took off, addicted to cocaine. She's got 2 little kids, super high-stress job. They lost their home. She's trying to hold it together. She had a nervous breakdown. It took her about 15 years to get her life back on track and meet somebody again. You can go to the wrong college, and it's not going to affect you. You meet the wrong person, get involved with them, it can destroy your life. You really need to think about this. But you got to take your chances on love. And it's our relationships in life and the beauty, the outstanding beauty of existence that surrounds us that are the things that are all important. I'm almost done. There's a somewhat corny play, I don't think we read it anymore, called Our Town by Thornton Wilder. It's a good play, set in any town, small town America. And in it, a young woman dies in childbirth. And she gets to come back to her town as a ghost, guided by the stage manager, and she gets to observe life in her hometown, and she chooses the day of her 12th birthday. And she looks at the people she knew in her town, and she is absolutely overcome by the simple joys and beauties of life, by the flowers and the trees, and by the kind human interactions she sees in her hometown. And she asks her guide, the stage manager, if anyone alive ever really appreciates the beauty of life. And he says, no. The saints and the poets, maybe, they do some. So my injunction to you is to learn to dive into your lives and to savor them. In The Lord of the Rings, Gandalf says to Frodo, in this life, all we have to decide is what to do with the time given to us. And what are you guys all going to decide to do with the precious and wonderful time that's been given to you? Here's my advice. Don't waste it. You are a fragile, sentient, biological organism in an apparently infinite 13.8 billion year old, rapidly expanding universe. To be alive is an absolute trip. And here on Earth, you're surrounded by beauty of all sorts, by love and affection and goodness. Seek out that beauty and love and try to appreciate it fully and deeply. And I wish you guys all the success in the world in doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Now we've come to that part of the program you've been waiting for. Dr. Merrick Bobeck, the chair of our board, is ready to confer diplomas. I invite our Dean of Academics and Director of College Counseling, Leslie Cleakin, to come up to the podium and to read the names of our graduates. Please.
Ready? All right, seniors. First row, rise. Beautiful. All right. While they're getting set, I wanted to let you know that we have a tradition at St. Mary's that faculty members, staff members, and board members who have a child graduating actually get to give their child their diploma. So when you see somebody else up on stage, besides Dr. Bobeck and Mr. Meyer, and our other college counselor, Eve Fenton, then you'll know that that's a faculty, staff, or board member giving their diploma. I also would like to say, before we bring these kids up, we would like to recognize both AJ Borovansky and Yilun Jung, who could not be here tonight. So let's give those two a round of applause. Bo Nok Young. Sophia Anjani Sauer Dunleavy. Jacqueline Watts. Bronwyn May Ann Kroll. Subin Lee. Lauren Brooke Lee. Samara Rose Day. Ella Maria Weston. Cyrus Serenity Zaka. Sadie Ann Glaser. Eliana Danielle Hirsch. Caitlin Nicole Balsiger. Manlung Feng. Cheng Huang. Junwon Lee. Zhupeng Chow. Catherine Marisol Mejia. Jessica Cruz. Bridget Elizabeth O'Connell. Jiwoo Swon. Ilsa Tate Oliva. Sarah Margaret Metwally. Alfie Jewel Borovansky. Sydney Ray Alexander. Parker Nicole Gutchins. Reese Joanne Wright. Sophia Janine Barley. Natalie Louise Jones.
That's my sister!
Ava Elise Bujosa. Catherine Grace Stillwell. Hamir backing up. Jocelyn Liu. Merrick Harper Pannell. Hamir Nanesh Patel.
Whose kid is that?
Amit Bharat Kumar Lad. Lucy May Maxwell. Carmel Karis Ashland. Tyson Nathaniel Deltanche. Ethan Michael Cano. Mo Shun Nguyen. Haruto Zaitsu. Second row, rise.
Well, why are we voting? This land here, I don't understand the serious.
Jaden Foster. Brock Ashton Drury. William David Clement. Chung Wang. Haley Harper Brown. Jocelyn Cortez Martinez. Kaiwen Zheng. Chi Ri Wu. Matthew Charles Poisson. Caden John Calkins. Sydney Christina DeBoer. Marin Elizabeth Chamberlain. Caitlin Kimberly Hansen. Kelsey Cecile Dunn. Ruben Zhou. Elliot Kenneth Zimmer. Timothy Sibirtsev. Yejun Choi. Trent Thurin. Anthony Moody Yosef. Kyan Isaac Hidde. Sean Khan Ujchlik. Simon Allen DeVries. Samuel Morgan Hamilton. Ethan Hughey. Hayden Lee Walker. Noah Friesen. Mason James Cooley. Dylan Theodore Bear Damon. Charles Thomas Heim. Ty Joseph Cronenberger. Alexander Joseph Wilk. Will Joseph Doss. Cody James Arnold. Tristan Shane Vanetta. Sania Asaya Ayala. Carter Jack Brown. Spencer Cutler Patton. First row, rise as the second row files in. You guys have your diplomas. If your hat is clipped, you might want to pull it. Just saying. Are you ready? Congratulations, graduates. It is now time for you to move your tassel from the right to the left to signify your transition out of high school. Friends and family of the St. Mary's class of 2023.
Congratulations. But before we conclude, I'd like to invite Merrick Pinnell to the podium to offer our benediction. Merrick, please.
Our final prayer is an old Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen.